Sic transit gloria mundi. The Lord of the World is a 1907 novel by Robert Hugh Benson. It is a dystopian science fiction novel by the Catholic priest and Englishman. It is about the reign of the Antichrist at the end of the world. The story starts in the early 21st century, and we learn some alternate paths of history. The Conservative Party of England dies, pretty much. Labour becomes strictly communist, and the Church of England abandoned the Nicene Creed in 1919, and then lost its status as the official Church of England 10 years later. The House of Lords ceased existing in 1939, and in 1960, most professions are nationalized, and the country is said to have become largely Marxist in 1989. It takes place around our time. The Tories, now blatantly called individualists, make up 1% of the population, so essentially it's a one-party state. Atheism is also popular. The royal family is gone. Oxford and Cambridge are closed, like the monasteries were dissolved under Henry VIII, and everyone speaks Esperanto. There are only 3 religious groups left. Eastern religions seem largely unaffected, and Catholicism survives while Protestantism doesn't and is shrinking. And humanitarianism is popular, which professes that God is man. It is not considered a religion by its followers, who are atheists, of course, but has ritual and creed, which honestly sounds like some modern atheists, which kind of does mime religion anyways. There are only 3 states in Eastern Empire, having most of Asia and the Pacific, pretty much a mono-state European Union, including their African colonies and the American Republic that covers both of the Americas completely. This is all preparatory material to the world. The story proper gives us Oliver Brand, an MP from Croydon, as war approaches between Europe and the East, and a senator from America named Felsenburgh is taken charge in the peace delegations. A charismatic character similar to Hitler, or maybe Christ, if you would, though this was written before Hitler's advent, obviously. Little is known of him, but that he speaks many languages and is highly charismatic. This Felsenburgh is key to the title of the book and the idea of the Antichrist. The story is also recognizable in some ways, at least the name, if you've read far enough in the Sun Eater books by Christopher Archio, as there is a Felsenburgh character in there too. Felsenburgh is never treated straightforwardly. He's not a point-of-view character, but his presence is immense throughout the novel. Father Benson leaves a note at the start saying he tried to be fair in his showing for things he disagrees with, though the bias is still quite obviously evident, right? I mean, he does decently well, I think, but since he's a Catholic priest, I don't find this bias the least bit surprising. It's a story about, Catholicism being right. So, though I will say that he also seems to be against the idea of Freemasonry. Early on in the story, a volor crashes, and it is not like a plane as we would think of today. Remember, this book released a few years after the Wright brothers' success in flight. Mabel, wife of Oliver, witnesses this crash, and when a Catholic priest in the scene prays for the victims, she finds it rather strange. These characters, of course, are not Christians themselves, like the majority of people. Oliver dismisses the last rites and beliefs, and what's interesting is the Department of Euthanasia shows up to kill the crash victims rather than rush them to a clinic, which sounds appropriately dystopian and a little bit too familiar. The book actually manages to be intense and exciting and had me expecting the events that would come, but still enjoying them when they did. There is another character that shows up about 2 pages after this first, and he is a believer. His name is Father Percy Franklin, and he's rather key to the rest of the story. Another thing that is interesting about this is that there's an idea that communists wouldn't fight because of the impotence of their movement, essentially. Obviously, this was written in the early 20th century, before many atrocities were committed under the name of communism. Sadly, that is one thing Benson got wrong. So the science elements are unsurprisingly dated. There are typewriters, the telegraph is still used for long-distance communication, and volors are a bit more like zeppelins and airplanes. The ideas, though, still hold weight today. A very obvious Catholic bias, and it ends where you would expect, at least it ended where I expected, still an enjoyable time, particularly where character is concerned. There are definitely poignant arcs, and where characters have moments of crises in their faith, in particular, the asking of why, even for those who are not really particularly religious. So it really looks, I think, rather well at what good comes from a certain type of perception, and what type of perception can excuse some awful things done in the name of mercy or utilitarianism. Lean from Lyceum.